where I do my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. Hi guys, and welcome to Get Your Reviews and to this live stream discussion of 30K, Warhammer 30K versus 40K lore. So, a bit of a context, guys. How did I reach this topic? Well, basically, when I first started with Warhammer, I started actually with a 40K novel. And then I continued with the Horus Heresy because, I really wanted to get into that whole thing with the Emperor, the Primarchs, just some prehistory so I can grasp like the meat of things. And then in order for me to catch up with the newer novels, I continued with the newer novels. So basically 40K. Hi to you guys in the chat, by the way. Thank you, dear Avi, dear Titan, Zarich, hi to you too. And yes, well, still have all the Uncharted games on the PlayStation, so it's not really a woohoo for me, but I'm happy for everyone that can get the games on PC. Is always amazing. But back to Warhammer. Back to Warhammer, guys. So, as I had to catch up, with the new novels, I discovered that they are not so good as the Horus Heresy ones. I mean, at least that is how I feel about it. I did like the Dark Imperium, trilogy, but mostly the last book. I already did a review of, all of the Dark Imperium and some other of the newer books as well. So I was like, okay, this is just, it's a bit boring and it's like a filler. There's so many like side characters. It's just a lot of other things, but not the main thing. For example, now I am on The Avenging Sun, which is supposed to be about Gilliman. I have not finished it, but so far Gilliman is just barely there, basically, which is a trend that is reoccurring in other books too. Like, for instance, The Emperor of Mankind, that was a Horus Heresy book though. It was barely about the Emperor, so he was not that much there. There was some arc that was going on about him, but there was so much background characters and background things that were happening. They lost me. I found myself losing the what was the word for that? Yeah, the trail of the main story about the Emperor. But so far, I think I'm like, a lot more into the Horus Heresy. I mean, I've gone through a lot more books there, above 12 or 13 to this point. I mean, there are a lot, but I'm just, prioritizing which ones I should read. And I also have a list with the books that are mostly recommended by everyone to be read. And all of that I'm doing through an audiobook form because it's impossible for me to read during the day, literally is. I explained that before, not going to get into it, but the point is, guys, that I realized that the 30K lore, everything that happened before the Emperor was embedded in the Golden Throne, is just much more interesting than everything that is happening now. I mean, there's some things, like I've said, with the Dark Imperium, how the book ended, what happened between Mortarion and Gilliman, and the fact that the Emperor was there, that's just amazing, and that really points the way towards the future and what could happen. So I'm super curious about that. In our Discord server, Golden Astartes, we are already speculating about who is the loyalist Primarch that will potentially come back, and how many of them. I think maybe something like 3 against 3 Primarchs is gonna be a good dynamic, who knows. I'm going to get to the comments, guys, so hold on and head to you then. But sorry guys. overall, from what I know, building up to this point of the Horus Heresy and the fall of the Primarchs, I mean, everything is a lot more interesting than what's happening, as a whole, but what is happening with Gilliman and the Emperor and that whole fight with Mortarion, that was, on the same, interesting level. It's just that it's so little compared to the rest of what is happening in the rest of the 40k lore. And although it is interesting as a lot in what was happening in the 30k lore, it's just this part of it, and they're not really trying to develop that much. They're just focusing on the side stories, side things, and some of them are interesting, like the Black Templars committing basically heresy by killing the freaking Primaris Marines that are supposed to be their reinforcements. That is shocking. Well, it's kind of understandable given the tabletop situation in real life, how people think of the Primaris, but we already discussed that too. So yeah, that was in the novel The Golden Throne. It was not even about the throne, and not even about the Golden Throne, and not even about the Emperor on the Golden Throne. So I'm getting this feeling that the titles of the novels are kind of like clickbait to this point, but then in the book term. So we have actually 2 new books to look forward to now, and one is going to be with Sanguinius, but I'm going to do a separate video about that because it's a big deal, and there's one more with Mortarion. So I hope to God, because this is a Horus Heresy book, that we're going to get something very, very interesting that maybe, just maybe, are going to lead us to think that somehow someone will return. There were some hints that Sanguinius is still out there, and he is watching over Dante closely. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, if he can somehow come back, if he can muster the power, but then again the Emperor as well has to do the same. So how is this gonna go? There's just very interesting. But really, guys, when it comes to 30k in general, and everything actually that even happened before that, the story from the beginning with the Emperor, how he rose to power, how he united Terra, conquered everything, had the first Space Marines, before that the Thunder Warriors, the Custodes, how the Custodes killed the Thunder Warriors, and everything that has to do with the Emperor's character leading up to the heresy point. It is just so interesting, okay? It's one of the best things, stories in fiction that I ever seen. And that is why I say many times this should be like a AAA game in third person, at least, to start from somewhere, develop that. And it definitely should be a series or a movie with a huge budget like Game of Thrones or something, because it is so awesome. So instead of focusing on so many little stories, I think that sometimes GW should focus on that main lore and just go from there, do the heresy, then do whatever. But before that, they have thousands of years that they can present in some kind of a way, whether that be, in the show, game, movie, whatever. Just as long as they are doing something major, those are the major stories. That's the true story. Everything else is really a filler at the end of the day. So it's like missed opportunity, like all the games now. Dark Tide, it's kind of a side thing, and something from a smaller part somewhere in the universe. Then you have all the shows that are on Warhammer Plus, the Exodite, Interrogator, Hammer and Bolter. These are just so little parts of the whole universe, and it's kind of like, what are you doing, GW? Why are you not adapting the bigger things? That's a lot more interesting. So I think, basically, guys, from the point of view which is better for me is 30k. 30k is better. And yeah, it has a lot less filler and a lot more storytelling. I can't even forget still how thrilled I was to listen to Fulgrim, the novel. and how I got so excited to talk about his journey from becoming, from a loyalist Primarch to becoming basically a demon. I mean, to let chaos in, so the demon now controls his body, and Fulgrim was just a tiny little speck in his into his being. Just the demon pushed him back so further, and he was just a hopeless watcher through his own eyes, seeing what the demon is doing with his body and how he is now fully under control. I mean, yeah, taking the control. So that was fascinating from a psychological storytelling point, to be able to dissect this and to think upon this. So this novel, I just remember how I was listening to it like with so much interest, and now I can't really say anything like that about the newer novels, except, like I said, that fight between Guilliman and Mortarion, and of course how the Emperor meddled in this and once again saved Guilliman, and Guilliman saw a lot of things that I also, analyzed in detail. So, yeah, that was fascinating, but there's so many more fascinating things from the first Horus Heresy novel with the Primarch story and how Horus fell to, well, throughout basically. Well, not all of them, but yeah, a lot more compared to what we get, with the newer novels. So the newer novels kind of feel like quantity over quality, and the old novels are a ton, but at least quality feels a bit more prevalent in many, many ways. So yeah, I say 30K wins, and in terms of that comparison, and hopefully we will get some kind of a satisfying conclusion and see if the Emperor returns and what's gonna happen. We need kind of like a new age of the Emperor, at least that's how I feel. A new age where he is getting his plans more in order, so nothing like what happened before happens again. So that would be smart. And having things under control without letting that control ruining, I mean, to ruin his actual control, if you know what I mean, because he did lost it. I mean, he lost a lot of what he built because of what happened to the Primarchs, and of course there's the the argument, well, maybe he knew what he was doing, but I also talked about that, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. So guys, that is going to be my thoughts on that topic, and now let's go to the comments. So Ivy, thank you for the share of the link. He says, my name is Emperor of Mankind. I'd like to say, even if I could benefit from the lifetime of knowledge you may find here. I'm Emp and I learned diet, health, fitness. Yeah, he didn't get a lot of wisdom from all of this, it seems. Indeed, my friend, I'm also looking forward to it on PC. Yes, that's about Uncharted. Yeah, for you it's amazing, dear Clayton, of course. And Dan, hi to you, Dan, and once again kudos to Dan for gifting me these amazing tabletop figures, which are official. I don't know how I understood you wrong that they're not official, but you painted them amazingly in every way. So Dan says, I think 40k lore is better than 30k lore because the setting itself is a lot more interesting, but the Horus Heresy does have some great novels and characters. Well, okay, that is, how you see it. Of course, no problem with that. Next Primarch got to be Russ or the Lion, but the next confirmed is Demon Engran. Well, that is on the tabletop, and yeah, they're going to integrate him in the story as well. Since he is on the tabletop, there has to be some kind of a novel that follows that, or just gonna be the codex. Well, I'm not really sure about it, but I'm not that interested in Demon Primarchs because the powers are just not even. There's just too many Demon Primarchs compared to how many loyal Primarchs we have. We just have Guilliman, and all the rest are either dead or we don't know where they are. So I need to see the loyalist. I don't really care about the others unless there's something to do with the Emperor and the other, loyalist Primarchs. I mean, if you have to take one of the demon Primarchs and get him into the story now, then take one of the loyalists and bring him to the story as well. Dark says, I like the one that Jagatai rides out to fight Mortarion and was saved by Sanguinius and the Imperial army. Which one is that, Dark? Zeriche, we get Crisis. Okay, you're still on the games, not on the topic. Okay, well, I'm happy for you. So, continuing. KK, wait. Okay, Chris, hi to you. And Dan says, I think 40K would be like Dune, too complicated for a movie, too expensive for a TV show. Well, what to tell ya? It depends, but yeah, a lot of the show is gonna be CGI because all the throne rooms and the ships and Space Marines themselves, who knows how they're going to make that. Which Warhammer 40K story you like with a twist in the story? With a twist. I can't recall which one is with a twist, actually. Maybe you can say, from the Golden Throne, when we reach that point in the end of the novel and we find out that at the beginning, they are speaking, the primarchs are speaking with the Black Templars, and they say, oh, well, your reinforcements never arrived. And then at the end of the novel, you see that they actually killed them. So, yeah, that was with a twist. Very interesting. What is that? I'm not familiar with that Dan novel. If that's a novel. I still have some to catch up, so what to do? Hey Oliver, hi to you too. And Night Lord's omnibus was actually with what I started. That is the first ever Warhammer at all novel that I ever went through. So yeah, the Night Lords, which was interesting, but at the same time I didn't find it to be exactly my style, especially when you listen to it, because there are so many details that the author spends a lot of time to explain how there was a fly on the wall, and that's just a metaphor, but there was something like that in one of the novels. So just an example, there was a fly on the wall has these and that types of wings, and as it moves something else happens, and and it just goes on and on and on and on, and yeah, I forgot what I was listening to. So not really a huge fan of that style of writing, but there were some interesting moments to it, and of course the really the meatest of the meat of the story was kind of like at the end, as far as I remember. Okay. Well, that's another topic, Zericher. I mean, I know that you're bored, but the topic is different. After all, it's Warhammer, it's not the other games. Okay. Oh, thank you for the share, Ivy. Yes, for the link about the miniatures. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm also excited for Game of Thrones, Zeriche. But yeah, can't wait to see the Jon Snow sequel. Yes. But once again, that's not the topic. And we are going to, all develop beards before we see Dragon's Dogma, and probably we'll all develop beards, waiting for Skyrim, because I don't know when that game's gonna come out. We are all going to, like like in some kind of a meme, you waited so long that you turn into skeleton. So that's possible, unfortunately. Those games are such a long way. The Buried Dagger, the Horus Heresy. Okay, I have not reached that book. The Buried Dagger. I have to see if it's in my list on on our Golden Stardies page. So I'm gonna go check real quick. So yeah, in in our Golden Studies Discord, I managed to put 40k books list, although they're not 40k. A lot of them are 30k books, but I just wrote like 40k as a general term, although it's not correct. Let's see. Thousand Suns, Prosperable Burns, The Outcast Dead, Vulcan Lives, No Fear, Betrayer. I'm afraid I don't have this. And Deliverance Lost. I don't have that, yeah. So maybe I'm going to copy paste it so I can remember it. The Buried Dagger. But yeah, there are so many books in the Horus Heresy. Of course, when I reach that part that I want to make about the new books that are gonna come out, I'm gonna focus on them and try to get those first so I can make a review of that. But whenever I can, I'm gonna keep going to the Horus Heresy books and keep like catching up on what I have not read. So Dan says, Gary, I do agree. I think the Dark Imperium trilogy set the bar for exciting stories in the 40k universe. Yes. I don't know how the other books are that are current, but I don't know what can be better than the Dark Imperium, honestly. Since I'm, continue with the Avenging Sun, and that's like, I don't know, a year before the Dark Imperium, not sure. And it's just not the same. Just not interesting that much. Imp of Thrones. Now that's, my friends, what the Primarchs should have been concerned with when Horus took a slice of my pie. Yeah. Okay, Beer Hammer. Okay, that's funny. Yeah, guys, so that is it about this topic. And I'm excited to cover the new books. I can't believe that they finally announced them. So I am very happy, but they are not saying when those books are going to come out. So we have the latest Primarch series novel, and that is by David Annandale. I never read anything by him before, so that's interesting. So Mortarion the Pale King, but like I said, I'm gonna address those in a separate video. And before that, which is more interesting to me, is the Primarch series. And yeah, sorry, I'm reading the article real quick, by Chris Wright. Also, I don't remember reading anything by him. Sanguinius the Great Angel. So that sounds awesome. So yeah, guys, go and discuss these books when I can. I wanted today, but sorry, Mike, but I will not make it. It's already very late. It's book 54. Thank you, Dark. So guys, I will try to be here tomorrow, if not Monday, but in any case, really want to cover those two books and get them as soon as they come out. But of course, if you like to help the video, and in general, I really want to hear your opinion at length, go in the comments, write something, interact with the video in some kind of a capacity. It still helps. And if you like support me, guys, where OnlyFans, where I do all of my coaching, meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. And of course, my own physique updates on how I'm progressing. So that's gonna be it for tonight. Have a great Sunday, guys. Sleep well, and hopefully see you very soon. Bye-bye.